So why now? It seems like there's been a ratcheting up of the rhetoric by North Korea, and of course more troubling nuclear weapons and missile tests. Why now? Is the situation simply a degree more desperate for them than it has been? How do you explain the higher level of rhetoric?
I think there's a domestic political explanation and a strategic explanation. In domestic political terms in North Korea, there's the new leader, and the people around him have to bolster their position. And one of the ways they can do that is by showing that they're tough, decisive leaders, and by sort of exaggerating and even manufacturing an external threat. Strategically, North Korea, I think, for a long time, has aimed to become a nuclear weapons state for a number of reasons we can go into later. And they are now at the point at which they are close to having a nuclear weapons capability deliverable by missiles. So this is a very tense and precarious moment. And so I think a lot of their bluster is a smokescreen to allow them to actually get by with the continued development of their nuclear and missile programs.
I think there's one other element. I think David is absolutely right on. He talked about a domestic component, a strategic military component. I think there's sort of an international relations component as well. I think historically North Korea has shown that it has used this kind of rhetoric and bluster to extract benefits from the international community, food, fuel. I think to some degree they do want recognition of being a nuclear weapon state, so that's part of it. I also think there's a new wrinkle here, a different wrinkle here that is unique. I think a lot of experts or people who follow North Korea were thinking that 2013 would be an interesting year, that 2012 not a lot was going to happen because there was so much changeover in governments that were happening in China, Japan, South Korea, and in the United States. We didn't know who our leadership was going to be, so therefore policy was sort of on standby. And so the feeling was that in 2013, when all these governments got into place, that there would be some initiative related to North Korea. Well, the interesting thing happened is that North Korea realized that too. And they said, well, why should we wait until all these people get their governments in place, they talk to each other and have a consolidated plan for us? We don't want this. Let's take advantage of what's going on. We want to test. We want to do these things to advance our capability militarily. So let's take advantage of these new governments coming into place, not knowing exactly what the policy is going to be, and try to move as quickly as we possibly can. So looking back at this, what we have here in a sense is a third test. We had the missile test, which was in December. We had in February the nuclear test. And the third test that's happening right now is a test of the international community. It's a test of the resolve and the temperaments of the governments, and the United States in particular, about what we are going to do in a certain case where there is ratcheted up pressure that is constantly moving. So they are probing us, and I think this is another reason for why they're doing what they're doing.